I'm doing a recording of this now. See, we're doing this live, and overall, let's just get the basic gist here. This is the story, a guide for a background characters to survive in a manga, a Chinese web novel. Do you know what a Chinese web novel is? Do you know what a web novel is? You probably know what a web novel is. It's a it's a book on the web. Like, yeah, you should know that. Okay, yeah, you probably do. You know, let me just do this. We need more graphic design here. We need more graphic design. Net. I just woke up from a quick nap, and I decided that I okay. Let's just get rid of this. But yeah, I decided that I need to talk about the story just because it's pretty meh. It's pretty meh. Okay, it's a mid story. It's just a little bit mediocre. I don't have a script for this. I didn't plan. I was planning to, but I decided that this purple haired little dude over here causes me too many problems. Let me get some red. Too many problems with his fucking smile. His smile. I I personally need to talk about it. And I need to stop bouncing away from the topic. So let me give you the premise. So let me just give you the quick premise of the story. Um, Basically, our guy realizes that he's in the manga. Okay, that's not surprising. It's basically, I'll describe it as the writings of an isekai story a little, but it's not. It's not. It doesn't count. But it feels like at least one of those trashy isekai stories. But basically realizes he's in the manga. He goes to the library, reads the manga, like, wow, this looks interesting. Wow, it's just oddly placed right here, waiting for me to read. Interesting, interesting. And then suddenly he hears the voice of God echoing through his head. Just like, oh my God, I'm sure. This is something to listen to, something to hear and listen. And basically, God tells him, do you want to save the world? And also, reality is just a manga. It's getting updated weekly. We're getting like the second season. You're gonna die like the first chapter, because you're gonna be introducing the main mystery. And the guy right here has no thoughts, no thoughts at all. He's just Yeah, he's just ready to go. He's just ready to go. He's just so ready to go. He doesn't care. He doesn't care at all about realizing his reality is fake or at all. I'm like, okay, that's fine. You know what? I could settle. Maybe it's just an instinctual act, and he'd rather just do. He'd just rather do something. He's a doer. He'd rather not think about the whole situation. Just move his legs. It's like, okay, got it. Okay, you know what? All right, maybe we'll think about this later. So, okay, one character problem. Next, he goes to his school slash, good old academy stuff. He goes to the school. First interaction, first little interaction is basically meeting with the protagonist trio. Meeting with like one guy here and just telling him, "You're gonna have bad luck." I really should like grab some like stock images. I'm grabbing a stock image right now, of an evil witch. No, evil. What would be the perfect fortune teller? Like that's what I should have here. A fortune teller. What's the first image I'm gonna find of an evil fortune teller that's in the public domain? Let's see. this guy. I'm grabbing this guy. Okay, we're throwing him in here. Um, damn, we can. Did you know OBS has layers? Like, they have layers now. Let me pull that out here. Do they have layers? I look layers right here. Say layers. Wow, see that? See that? Okay, I could add another layer, and maybe I don't what fuck. No, no. Okay, well, we don't need the title. But basically, moving on. I should just done a fucking PowerPoint presentation. We're gonna keep snapping back. I just wanted to keep the whole thing in one point. But anyways, but yeah, he does this. He does this whole shebang. Like, okay, he doesn't really do all of this. He just says. Actually, no, no, no. It's more like a fortune cookie. Actually, he does the fortune cookie. He does a fortune cookie basically. He's like, oh yeah, you're gonna have bad luck. You're the most unluckiest person in this school, and throws fortune cookie. Don't save fortune cookie. Zoom out. Zoom out. Zoom out. Fortune cookie. Yeah, see, fortune cookie. He does this. He basically does this. He becomes a fortune cookie, and the funniest reaction, or the worst reaction in my book, is that the other guy, the protagonist of the manga story, who's apparently smart per se, reacts to this kid, same age, doesn't have a reputation for anything. All he knows, he summoned gears. They had like a whole, hello everybody, I'm here. This is my name. This is my talent. Whatever. They have this whole, thing, and you just all know this man summoned gears. And it's like, oh, okay. And then he does this whole overthinking thing. Like, what does he mean by this? Does he have the ability to prophecy? Am I really gonna be that unlucky? Oh my god. He could be just messing with you. That's what he's been characterized as, like, outside. He's been characterized as a slacker. He could literally be messing with you. Like, that would be the first reaction. Like, you don't need to, you know, fucking see a fortune cookie and like, and like, it never, if you see just a random fortune cookie and that seems so impossible, do you believe it? Unless you're really superstitious. I'm gonna frankly believe that's the only reason that he was. I'm gonna pick a color for him. That he was so amazed by this fortune cookie that he was like, "Oh my god!" His mouth just came out of his skull, and his brain too. And it's just like, sure, I'll believe the guy. I believe this random kid who has a reputation to be a slacker to have some power. So like it's not like the world is bending around and believe him in like some cases, or like if you read a Chinese story, like there's a lot of reality bending. But this one, there's like nothing going on. It's just simple overthinking, which is I don't get, like they're trying to make him look smart by making him overthink, but is it really smart? It fucks me. Sometimes the simplest answer is right there. The outcome's right easier. Like, at least you would think of that first, and then maybe you assume so until later on, until there's proof of it. Like, like it's more like a haha. That's kind of funny. Like, are you trying to mess with me, or something? Reaction he should have had, but yeah. But like, all right, moving on from that. Actual smart things was gear summoning, since he's able to summon different types of gears, blah blah blah. But later on, forward into the story, we get into the murder mystery in the bathroom. Let's just get a murder in a bathroom image, real quick. Um, this is a podcast with extra steps, by the way. Oh no, it's not raining. It's just my crappy Linux laptop over there. Or is it raining? I can't fucking tell. Anyways, murder in blood in bathroom. I do it the old-fashioned way. I don't get those old AI images. Even though I do, I could just bake them locally if I really am curious. Hmm. I guess iStock photo. Public domain. Um, Bathroom. I'm just gonna pick bathroom photo. All right. Basically, I'm skipping a lot. I feel like I'm skipping a lot because I haven't like thought this through, and I'm a very bouncy person when I'm talking about something. That's why I should have made a script. But I also confession here. It's a little small confession. Is that I haven't touched the story in like within a week, and I kind of forgot most of the things that happened. When I thought about doing this ages ago, like a couple of weeks ago, I read it and I was like very in. I was like we're getting into it. I was like nice 90 chapters in, hoping the story would get better. And I didn't. And I was getting bored, and then I was like, okay. And then I slowly waiting. I was like, okay, I'm gonna write up something here. Gonna write it all up. But anyways, I'll create the blood here. I'll create the blood. Okay. Wait. We could have a better brush for this. What the hell? You know, we have technology. We have technology here. I will create a better brush. And actually, I think the guy dies on the cafeteria. But basically, sorry for the microphone peaking. Sorry. Um, basically, um, yeah, basically another guy takes his death place instead of the protagonist. So he lets someone else die. He does react to that actually. He does react and he does kind of feel somewhat guilty about it. But he's just gonna move on to the next action. So they're trying to prove him as a doer, yeah. But it also kind of bothers me that they're doing this thing with him where everyone else will assume that he's planning something. I gave you a good example. Everyone else will assume that he's planning something. Just because at the very beginning, I don't mind later on in the story because he gains a reputation for it. But at the beginning of the story, I don't think he should be getting. No one really should know what he's doing. um, but but yeah, basically finds out he's dead. He goes through like, okay, can you give me like a future chapter of the manga god? Um, Funny enough, the manga god voice is not actually a god. It's not the writer himself. It's the subconscious of the writer. That's what I got from it. But it's the subconscious of the manga world. Um, but yeah, basically, like, can you give me like a chapter or something, or can you show me how I died, how I left the clues? Like, read through it, try to figure out why he left it like that, since it requires intricate designs and like requires like a lot of power. So he just tried to figure it out. I enjoyed it. Good stuff. Good stuff. Um, Actually, a lot of the gear stuff early on was mildly interesting. The author kind of thought of like random good solutions, at least some creative solutions for how the story, in terms of what I expect. um, Thought of like a lot of good solutions. For example, later on when he was trying to do fake prophecies, first the protagonist group or whatever, he basically found an element that perfectly crumbles into dust after like a few seconds. Um, Specifically in the world of the manga, of course. But I respect that it's trying to do something, cunning. And I respect it. It's like, yep, nice. Um, and it's a neat trick. I was like, yep, I would believe that. It's like he's been presenting himself and such for quite a while. Maybe there is something going on. Um, and overall, he gave that and basically just giving hints like a suspicious guy in the corner. Which leads to my another problem in the story. I'm just going through my problems, all right? This is, if you don't understand what was going on, ask me in the comment section. Like, actually, I'll probably put it together better in text because I will think about it before I, say anything. Here, I'm just throwing everything out there before even filtering it and then making them sound better. Um, so this is mostly a waste of time here, you see. But We got like a few more minutes here. But I'll try to keep this short. I'll give myself a limit. You know, I'm giving myself a limit live. I'll give myself a 30-minute limit. I don't think we're gonna go up for 30 minutes, unless I keep, you know, going off topic. So moving on. I'm skipping ahead. My main issue, um, so far in the story is that everyone, literally everyone, has not a single noisy bone in their body to care about this man, the protagonist, having. Let me just bring back his image. I should have it here. Boop. Let me bring it back. Don't save. Blah, blah, blah. There we go. Let's bring this guy back in. You know, let's bring him back in. But no one's fucking suspicious of this man. No one fucking cares that this man does anything at all. He looks like I wish I could you know what? I'm gonna just do my best. What will be the most like suspicious man? You know, what's the first image of suspicious man in public domain? I need to grab something here. But I don't think I'm gonna draw that man's face. I'm gonna draw a mysterious man in hoodie. So boom. Uh, it looks like You know what? Boom, boom. How do you fucking circle? Boom. What is this? What am I trying? Okay, and then I'm gonna grab the regular brush, and then I'm just gonna like, boom, boom, boom. You know what? Why am I? You know why am I making this harder for myself? We could just do this, and then this. Oh god, this guy reminds me of like that one comic that I read. Poorly planned art comics. Interesting story. And we gotta draw a very triangular nose. That's a little bit too. You know what? You know what? Drawing of a mouse sucks. Although I have no artistic ability, as you could tell. I think I'm a special ed child. You see, there, close enough, good enough, right there. And then don't forget the mustache. Actually, I almost forgot the mustache here. Uh, but I did. I don't want that. I want that. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. So I'm getting so distracted by this. There we go. Suspicious man. But yeah, he looks like this. Okay, he looks like this guy. I need to give him some aura, some green aura. Oh, uh. All right, he looks like this to everyone else practically. You know, in terms of what he does in the story, he's just like, I know this, I know that. Laughs evilly. This is all a show to me. Ha ha ha! I have this information that no one else knows about. He he he. He literally does this loudly and proudly, which leads to like the other gimmick of the story, which is the after the problem gets solved, he gets to read the manga comments and he becomes a poster there. The manga subconscious decides he can make an account and stuff like that. um how does that work? No one knows, but we don't really care that much about that. But it's really funny because the readers are the most natural element of the story. Although I feel like they're too loving, but they need. I feel like no one has said this guy feels like the protagonist, you know, the writer's self-insert, or he's trying to be too cool. No one has says that, but you know, no one says he's aura farming, which is probably the thing I expect the most. But everyone's like, oh, this guy should. Well, let's ship this guy with this guy. Oh my god, they held hands. Oh my god, it's oh yeah, just like the most true experience of a manga reading ever. Um, reading to like a comments and stuff like that. It's a lot of shipping. It's really the funniest segments of the story. I approve of those segments, but also it's kind of funny to me. The power system for our protagonist is based off what the reader believes he's gonna get. Um, which kind of means the writer doesn't know what he's, at the very least, doesn't know what he's planning with this guy at all. It's just for some reason that he saw people like liking this guy. It's like, maybe I should write more. and then I'm gonna write myself into a wall at some point, and then it leads to my next issue, um, the lack of tension. There is no semblance of tension. Like no, and there's like nothing going on. As you can see, I'm not even sketching. Um, but yeah, it's kind of like let me make it black. All right, um, it's kind of like sad here. Like if you see, it goes back to my suspicion issue. No one is suspicious of him. There's like no tension and no drama. Like there's zero drama. Everyone's acting like people, we all have our secrets. And there's like no big villain that's causing like big issues for our protagonist at all. Or the protagonist has his own problems. He doesn't feel like he has any psychological problems or any emotional issues relating to realizing he's in the manga. Everything just feels safe. Like this square, which is a rectangle. um, feels as safe as this, you know? It's a safe shape, and now it's a cube. Um, but it is a very safe shape. Doesn't have much going on. Doesn't have much paths going on about it. It's just a straight line with no twists or turns. Um, Protagonist gets grabbed. Okay, the early part of the story was more like, oh, let me just do it. The early part of the story is more like this. You know, it's bumpy. There's some bumps to it. There's something going on. You feel tension, but after a while, it gets into a routine where, protagonists get into a really small problem where he's trying to gain more power. So he just does things to just get around that, and doesn't really have much going on. Um, so it feels like this. Boom, boom, wow, rising tension, and then slowing back down for like the manga reading segments. And then we back, and then we go up a little bit, and then we slowly go down as our protagonist gains more powers and being able to control, to create prophecies and change fate. And then, you know, at some point, they're literally foreshadowing that he's able to change the past if he does things with the manga readers, basically, like implying things about his backstory. So, you know, like the world's literally allied with him, so literally nothing is going wrong. Um, like if I could go to plot points, there's the tournament arc, which basically he fought against everyone. The fights are interesting. He does solve them in a sensible way since he doesn't have a strong enough power set yet. Basically, out endure them with stamina and mental ability. Mental stamina. That's all the abilities require mental stamina, so he basically tries to out endure them, you know. Or taunt them if they can, you know, the simple stuff. Fun. The funny thing is though, like late into like the final chapters, like during the comment section, like, wait, what if actually, with his background so far, maybe he faked, maybe he didn't commit at all, maybe he didn't even bother. So everyone gives him more power without even trying, which is like fine. Like, yeah, that's actually a good misunderstanding. I'm fine with that. But then next thing later is that coincidentally, they cut this specific tree branch, and then while they were fighting the main villain of this arc, basically, and he coincidentally during this moment was the perfect moment to do something cool, which is changing someone's fate because it's like a small string of events. Like it was already close to the end of the fight, so he was able to just like snap their weapon open, and it was like okay, and then it's over immediately, just because he's just there. And he wasn't even planning to join the fight, and then he becomes more powerful because of his accident. It wasn't really a commitment. It was just accidental. It's like not even not doing anything causes problems. Like, oh, why are you were just sitting there and not joining the fight against the villain? No one questions it. Like, oh no, well, people do question. It's like, let secrets lie. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna actually, you know what? I'm gonna go back to read the story some more after this. Um, Honestly, I have like two versions of this. One was a week ago, which is much more focused on comparing two stories I read. That was more passionate than this one. This is just me waking up from like a I did not sleep well today, and I didn't really like it as much. And but I could release both versions, I guess. But this one is just a way shorter version and was less focused. Which is funny. The first version was really focused, but I also went off a tangent about like a different story, which was called Reincarnated Extra, whatever. Which has a similar concept. Basically, a bunch of gods toy around with this world with a bunch of souls they stolen from the earth, which is, a bunch of isekai protagonists basically thrown around the world, getting their stories turned into basically full on scripts. Their whole reality is predestined, basically. Our protagonist was just one of the scraps that some old god that never even got a title for anything, decided to just have and keep safe. And they get reincarnated into a village, and the village gets burnt down. Um, and the main sense of tension in that story is whether the protagonist is able to protect their friends. Really, she is powerful, but she's really bad at protecting people, and that's where the conflict and tension lies in. If she's able to protect people from powers beyond, or the powers close, to her, does she have the power to deal with plot armor? It's like, yeah, there's tension there, and there's like she's literally fighting against the writers practically of the world. And while in this story, everyone is our protagonist ally. There's like no tension, no conflict, no drama, no toxic yaoi. Like, god damn, there's like no drama. I mostly read Korean stories, and they're filled with melodrama, so I love that. I love misunderstandings. Like none of this is that interesting, just because it's like it's like a slice of life story without any good characters to enjoy. Like a slice of life story is it's relied on their characters overall, not really the world usually. Um, it's slice of their lives. This story is not trying to be a slice of life story. I legitimately don't know where to go in like 300 chapters. It's 300 chapters. I'm like 90 chapters in, and it feels monotonous. Not that's how you pronounce the word, but yeah, it just feels sluggish to go through. feels like I'm, it feels like I'm a humble snail going through this story, and it's just sad. It's sad, really. It's sad. Why am I? You know what? You know what? I realize I'm using my mouse is on high DPI. Anyways, um, so that's why it was so hard to do a lot of things. um, but yeah, that's it. Um, really, if you want me to release the other one, yeah. But if anyone actually watches this, I'll probably make something more scripted next time. I planning to throw everything into this account as like random stuff I do. Um, yeah. I haven't decided on the name. Yeah, currently recording this, but I'm probably just gonna name it Losses Dump Yard. Why Losses Dump Yard? Because my username's always been lost. Not in the literal sense, just like that's been my username. Um, but yeah, that's it. Not much else to say. Should I be lazy about this and not just throw it out, throw it in, throw it blah 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 blah. Anyways, bye.